look at this. I really love. I really enjoy painting. That's good because I do not have to speak. Valerie is explaining very well what she's doing, and Veronica is translating very well also what Valerie is saying. So I have nothing to say, only painting. That's it for me. Moi,
je veux remercier pour votre gentillesse.
C'est...
parce que c'est moitié mon français.
Et Véronica traduit, donc moi je peins, voilà, je peins en même temps. Et là, on est en train de faire les pissenlits.
Valerie, Charity said, I always love the Sennelier live demos, but this has been one of my favorites so far. Thank you.
That makes my day. Thank you. Yeah, so this is the dandelion puffs that we're doing, and I just want to encourage everybody. I think why I love the idea of the meadows so much is that this is your chance to play, and it becomes intuitive where to add the flowers. It becomes a dance, and this is such a real joy of it. So people will say, well, how many is too many? And I do think about composition, and I want them to be larger here at the foreground to help flow through, but really just allow this part to be filled with joy and intuition where to make those flower marks.
Okay. Elle a aussi commenté ce que c'est, ce qu'on aime quand on peint comme ça et on donne l'opportunité à votre imagination. C'est quand on joue avec le pastel. On joue avec les couleurs, on joue avec votre imagination. On a une harmonisation du composition, mais ça donne vraiment la joie du printemps, n'est-ce pas?
Ah oui. We are looking for the spring. We're waiting for the spring.
Yes. Yes.
Here in Brittany, we're waiting for it.
Oui.
So I'm going to start to warm things up a bit, and we have such a nice base, and this is where we can also get creative and playful with our mark making. So, and I'm also working towards adding more light. This is still a lot of base that we're laying down. We're going to lighten it more, but I'm going to take some of my warmth, that beautiful fresh spring green, and I'm going to add random playful marks to start to give some warmth in my field.
Donc là, des petites touches de lumière avec ce vert anglais très léger. Et on fait apparaître la lumière en surface comme ça, là, c'est super.
Okay.
J'ai remis le lien pour l'album partagé. Vous avez toute la semaine pour faire votre peinture. Et vous pourrez aussi revoir cette live en replay sur le YouTube et aussi sur le Facebook de Sennelier Colors. Quand vous ouvrez l'album, vous cliquez sur le plus et vous téléchargez votre peinture. Vous cliquez sur le i d'information et vous mettrez là votre nom. Et comme ça, vous êtes entré dans le giveaway pour la boîte de pastel. I put up the link again for the album to show your work in. So basically, you open that. On the top right-hand menu, you'll see that there's a plus sign. If you click on that and you're signed into Google, it should allow you to upload your photograph. If you click on the little eye, also on the top right-hand corner, then you can actually write in your name. But it will actually show your name on the picture anyway, the name that you're signed in as Google.
So I'm going back and forth here as well with some of my darker colors that I put down. This is part of the dance of it. If you go maybe a little bit too far with a certain color and you started to lose a little bit of all of the mixing, the melding together, you can always cut back in with a dark. That's also the beauty of using a light touch, that it gives you the ability to do that. And now I want to lay down those bright pops of dandelions with this beautiful yellow, and I'm going to start sort of in the mid-ground here and use this to draw the eye through. So this just gets to be, again, fun, playful marks. I'm using sort of this part of the pastel and pushing with a little bit more pressure because I want that mark to look organic. I don't want necessarily polka dots, so I twist and move my hand to get a nice organic mark making.
Okay. Elle a dit que le BOT d'utiliser une touche très légère, c'est comme par exemple si elle a fait ce qu'elle pense que c'est une exagération de couleur, elle peut toujours remettre des tons plus foncés. Maintenant, quand elle travaille avec le jaune des pissenlits, elle utilise une touche un peu moins délicate et comme vous voyez, elle utilise les directions différentes du couleur.
And we want to pay attention as we get more into the distance, we aren't going to see as much of the full detail. So I like to flatten out the marks, make them a little more horizontal, maybe not quite as pronounced as the ones that are closest to us.
Les pissenlits qui sont plus proches des montagnes et des arbres, ils sont moins complexe.
Oui, ils sont moins prononcés. C'est des touches plus légères. Et ce qui touche au loin.
Oui. À la distance, elle a utilisé une touche plus horizontale.
Voilà, et quand c'est devant, alors c'est plus marqué, c'est plus fort.
Merci, Valerie.
Non, mais...
And then something else we can do is there's a peachy color in here. So to warm up and give more nuance of hue, we can go in with the peachy color, add a few marks, and then it helps warm up that yellow, especially on the dandelions that are closest to us. Things are going to cool off in the distance, and so this is a nice way to add a little warmth.
Les fleurs qui sont plus aux distances, les tons sont plus froids. Maintenant, les fleurs qui sont plus proches, elles utilisent ce ton plus rose, couleur de pêche, afin de les accentuer, donner un peu plus de chaleur.
And as you add your wildflowers in, you want to notice that the brain tends to want to put things into patterns. So that is part of the big thing when you're adding marks to look organic. You might notice that your brain just accidentally put things in a pattern. So we want to just be conscious of that so that we can go in and interrupt those patterns so that it's more like what appears in nature.
Okay. C'est important de faire attention que quand on fait des choses comme ça avec sans image de référence, quand on joue avec votre imagination, sans penser, vous pourrez aller à faire des touches très régulières. Prenez attention, s'il vous plaît, de ne pas faire ça, de toujours maintenir la spontanéité.
Now I'm warming it up even a little bit more with more warm green.
Maintenant, on va aussi un peu plus chaud, additionner du chaleur.
And in the distance, I'm using, again, those horizontal marks to really make it look like that's flattening out a little bit more back there.
Et comme vous avez déjà vu, quand elle travaille dans la partie plus à distance, elle fait de nouveau les touches plus horizontales.
And I don't want to completely cover the layer underneath. So much of soft pastel is in the layering. So if you find that you covered something, when you use a light touch, you can go back in. I might want to glaze in a little more of this cooler green back here just to help it push into the distance. It's such a back and forth and a dance, really.
C'est comme une danse. Elle utilise les touches et les couches très légères et comme ça elle peut revenir. C'est important de ne pas faire une couverture totale parce que si vous faites ça, vous avez perdu l'opportunité de revenir et yeah.
Oui.
And
Comme ça, vous avez plus de flexibilité, la manière qu'elle peigne en ce moment.
this is another part of the play, just to add marks that will mirror some of the colors. So I had this color in the distant trees, so I want to glaze maybe a few marks of that. It is so forgiving. It really is just opening up for you to do what feels fun, the marks to add. So just a few of those will kind of tie it back to my distant tree line.
Elle fait des petites touches aussi pour avoir plus l'harmonie du peinture.
And at this point, we have not yet added the lights. That's something with pastel painting where since we do work dark to light, it really starts to just come together there in the end. So we build all of this groundwork, and now we're really going to start to get some satisfaction, especially here in these puffs. I want to lighten up specifically the left side of them since I had that light coming in from the left side. So I'm going to use a mix of the lavender that I used in the sky and then also this light bluish gray. And I'm going to go into just the sides of some of these puffs. And this is where you can experiment with different ways of mark making. Maybe you want to feather it out a little bit, kind of stipple it a little bit.
Elles veulent que la lumière vienne du côté à gauche. Alors en ce moment, elle utilise un peu du lavande et un peu d'un gris qui a un tout petit peu de bleu afin de travailler ça.
And we also don't need, these are my statement puffs, I would say, here in the foreground. But then as we get throughout the piece, I don't have to have everything have an equal weight of detail. So maybe I want to take this gray, and maybe there are just a few marks of puffs here in the distance.
Comme vous voyez, elle ne fait que l'accentuation de quelques des pissenlits et elle fait ça avec le mouvement et avec les couleurs, sa choix, la manière qu'elle fait, elle a choisi où vient la lumière, où touche la lumière. Elle a même commenté plusieurs fois que c'est comme une danse.
And it's here where I also might use my finger a little bit because that puff is nice and translucent. So I might just tap a few edges and really make it just a little bit softened and blurred out in a few areas.
Et peut-être en ce moment, elle commence à utiliser sa doigt pour avoir des touches plus... Marie, how do you say that?
Pardon, des touches un petit peu plus floues et un peu plus...
Désolé, j'ai oublié le mot. Merci.
Non, mais je vous remercie. Je suis désolé. En plus, moi, je vous laisse comme ça chercher. Je vous aide pas beaucoup. Hein. J'avoue que. Mais en fait, je suis captivé. I'm sorry because I don't.
I know it's good. I just think sometimes I forget the words. I really appreciate it.
Like the painting of Valérie and
Mes excuses en français. Parfois, je n'ai pas le mot.
It's not how to say. It's we can see. We see. So the image is. We can see what color Valerie is using and how she's painting.
We see.
So, perhaps we do not have to write everything because we can see the image. That's very interesting. Thank you very much, Valéria. That's very helpful.
Valerie, Sue actually said this method of not blending the colours is lovely. I now understand the dancing of the colours across the painting.
Yes.
And Marianne said, "You're the best."
Oh, so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
She was looking at this particular set to get to do more plein air work in the summer.
It's a beautiful set. It's very versatile. The other thing I went in and did as well was I went back with that shadow blue because on the puffs, some of them, as they grow in nature, they're not all going to be hitting the light equally. Some might be standing up a little taller and hitting the light. So I'm also going back and maybe just adding the shadow of a puff throughout here. And you really... It's all what is sparking joy for you. If you want more puffs, then go for it. It just becomes intuitive how many to add.
Rembrandt a fait comme elle. Elle utilise maintenant un peu du sombre, donc pas tout, mais quelques des pissenlits, parce que la lumière, logiquement, ne touche toutes les fleurs dans la même quantité.
And now we are at some details and finishing at this point. So I'm going to hit my tree on the left with a little bit more light from one of the warm greens that I used. And I don't need much, just a little bit of that light. I might cover some of this texture a little bit on the sides, but I tend to even like a little bit of a raw feeling on the edges.
Un tout petit peu de cette vert pour additionner et accentuer la lumière. Valerie, Regina said she already knows this from her, but you're the reason that she got involved in soft pastels. And it's been one of her favourite changes in art practice, and she's so grateful that she found you.
Amazing! Thank you all so much. That's so sweet. Okay, now we're at that time where this is details now, and you know, one thing I do want to do in the sky, we have a really lovely base here, but because of the yellow, I really like to mirror and get color harmony in other areas. So this is a very beautiful light yellow, and I want to just, especially here at the horizon, I'm going to peek in a little bit of yellow. It gives a nice little glow there. And then also I'm going to add a mark or two within the tree. And then I'm going to hit that with my finger just to knock it down a bit. This is called a sky hole. I want there to be a little bit of sky peeking through the tree, but yet it's often diffused because of branches and things. So I like to soften those marks.
Les touches de jaune sur l'arbre, ils sont très diffuses et en anglais ça s'appelle un sky hole.
And I like this yellow to be a bit bold here because these are our finishing marks. So I really enjoy that to be nice and bold.
Ils sont des trous de ciel.
Oui, c'est ça, des trous de lumière dans les arbres, et ça fait des points lumineux, mais c'est très très intéressant. Ça donne la vie, là, on sent la lumière qui vient vers soi. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah, Frankie said, you're so easy to follow along with. I love your instruction. And she's really pleased how her painting's coming along. You're really making this fun.
Oh my goodness, everybody's making my day. I'm smiling so big from your comments. Thank you.
We have to make a new Monday Live with you, Valerie, in the coming months, because this one we may have problem at the beginning, but it was so interesting, and you explained so well. That's amazing.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad to hear it. We just have a few details to finish up here, and this is such a fun part. On some of the dandelions, I want to give that dark center where we have the kind of that dark center of the puff of the dandelion. So I can use my blue again, and I can give a few marks here, and I don't need to do it on all of them, but maybe these ones that are here in the foreground. And then maybe if it feels fun, you can pop a few more little dark bits, because again, we don't know what's in here. Maybe there are little bees or little magical bits that you want to add a few marks. The other thing that I have is this lightest green. I have not used this yet, so it's a lighter value and it's quite punchy, but I can use the side I had mentioned before, where this is essentially our brush. So sometimes we can use the broad side to get broad strokes, or we can use the edges. And I really love the Sennelier uneven edges because it gives a lot of organic ways of mark making. So what I like to do for stems is I take this edge and then I just roll it. So maybe these dandelions will get some stems that we can see. So I roll a few of those marks.
Elle adore la forme des pastels de Sennelier. Elle utilise ça pour donner les différentes textures, les différentes accentuations de forme.
Et donc les petites tiges et les petits points noirs, donc pour bleu foncé au milieu des fleurs pour donner un peu de peps et sur celles qui sont devant là, et puis donc le bord du pastel pour dessiner les tiges, quelques lignes comme ça, quelques herbes.
And then at this point, I'm accentuating maybe a few bits of light with this very light green.
Et maintenant, elle accentue la lumière dans quelques endroits avec ce vert plus brillant.
And then, let's see, and this all just gets to be fun. What we add is these little details, but I like the idea of using this light yellow from the sky and giving a few, what I like to call sparkles in the distance. So just a few tiny little marks back here, especially where maybe we have this little patch of dandelion in the distance, or maybe at this this point right here where the land is coming up to the distance, and then we have our tree. I might want to put a little strip of light back there as almost a little something to discover, a little piece of delight to discover as we move through the painting.
La jaune brillant qu'elle a utilisée dans le ciel, maintenant elle fait de très petites scintillations de lumière. On peut utiliser cette technique pour directionner vos yeux et donner l'idée de qu'il y a plus là, plus pour découvrir.
C'est formidable. En 1 heure, 1 hour, look at this amazing pastels with Valerie Mckeehan. We are very lucky to be able to follow Valerie Mckeehan painting during this 1 hour. Look at this. the spring meadow. Regardez cette prairie printanière pendant 1 heure. Donc avec toutes les techniques que nous a montrées Valérie, c'est incroyable. C'est fantastique d'avoir accepté de nous montrer autant de choses. That's fantastic to be able to show us so many things, so many tips. You explain us how you do step by step. That's very, very interesting. A very big thank you, Valérie. Un grand merci, Valérie. C'est magnifique. Toute cette lumière. Et puis là, c'est notre cerveau qui restructure et qui fait apparaître cette magnifique prairie printanière. Our brain are making the job with all this stroke of colors. And now we can see the meadow, and we are in the
On est plongé dans la prairie.
On est plongé dans la prairie.
We're taking a dive into your meadow.
Thank you. It was so much fun. The last thing I just thought I would add this bright little bit of blue in here, maybe some little violets through the meadow, and I think that we'll call it done.
Super.
C'est super. Alors, look at mine. What do you think about mine? I want to show you if I can enter the giveaway.
Wow!
This is mine. It is. I try to follow your instruction. It's not so nice as yours.
Oh, I love the large size.
I really enjoy painting during this live with you. Up, it's where
back here.
It was very good. Oh, sorry. Put it here. There it is. Valérie, thank you very much. It was we all appreciate the painting. Yes, let us show. Hey, look at this. Wow. Fantastique. C'est magnifique. On a tous apprécié énormément ce live. C'est vraiment dommage qu'on ait eu ce problème au départ, hein, parce que vraiment ce qu'on a pu voir là pendant 1 heure, c'était vraiment superbe, cette façon de poser des touches de façon très délicate, alors sans fondre les couleurs entre elles, juste en les superposant avec le pastel card, parce qu'il a du grain, donc on peut superposer. So this way of adding the pigment with a light stroke on the paper, on the lacquer paper, with the grain of the paper, the pigment, adding layer on layer and adding more and more details, not too much, just with, how to say, delicatesse.
Delicacy.
Delicacy, yes. Delicacy painting. That's, it was a great time. C'était un grand moment de peinture.
Magic.
Merci Valérie. Merci Valérie. Do not forget to enter the giveaway. You know you can enter the giveaway. J'ai mis du pastel sur mes lunettes. You enter the giveaway. You paint watching the replay. Or no, you have the week to enter the giveaway. So you paint and you publish your artwork on the share album. I think that Veronica has published many times the link heading to the share album. And next Monday we make the draw and for a chance to win a set of 40 half pastels. So we really enjoy watching what you do, all your paintings, so we can add comment and we can speak about your painting. That's nice. N'oubliez pas de participer au giveaway. Tout ce que vous avez à faire, c'est de peindre en même temps en regardant peindre maintenant ou peindre en regardant le replay, pardon. Et puis vous téléchargez votre peinture, votre pastel dans l'album partagé. Véronica a dû publier plusieurs fois le lien. Et puis lundi prochain, on fera le tirage au sort pour savoir qui va gagner le set de 40 demi-pastels. Next week, we make a perroquet with oil pastels, avec des pastels gras. And the week after, it's very special as we will be live, but not here. We will be live in a festival, pastel festival, 200 kilometers from here. But it will be fun. We will be with Anne Courtine and David Bramelt. They are two very good pastel painters also, and we make the live, but the first time outside at this festival. Donc la semaine prochaine, c'est un pastel à l'huile avec un perroquet. Et la semaine suivante, c'est très spécial, on sera avec Anne Courtine et David Bramel au festival Pastel en Aber, près de Brest, pour un Monday live, eh bien, là-bas, outside. Il ne sera pas...
Un petit commentaire, s'il vous plaît. C'est en réponse à une question. Si vous n'avez pas de pastel à la cuve, ne vous inquiétez pas, s'il vous plaît. Ce n'est pas nécessaire pour être dans le giveaway. Faites le peinture avec ce que vous voyez.
Paint is what we want. You know, the goal of the Monday Live is to have fun painting.
If you haven't got self-pastels, paint with what you like. What you have.
Artists, talented artists such as Valerie Mckeehan. You do not forget Instagram.
Yeah, and share your work on Instagram and Facebook, and look at Valerie's Instagram, and particularly on her Instagram, she's got her link tree, so you have all the links to her website and her books, and I'll put it up.
I will make an email to everybody this evening or tomorrow morning to add into the replay because of the problem we faced at the beginning. Valérie, it was an amazing pleasure to be with you. C'était un grand plaisir d'être avec vous, Valérie, pour ce Monday Live. Thank you very much to say yes to this live. Perhaps we can do a new one in a few months if you want. If you're okay.
I would love that.
Peut-être qu'on pourra faire un nouveau.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry again for the problem we faced at the beginning. I hope next time it will be better. Désolé encore une fois pour le problème que nous avons rencontré au début de ce live. J'espère que la première fois, la prochaine fois, ça marchera bien. Merci à tous. Thank you all for being here. And it was a great pleasure. Thank you all for watching, and do not forget to enter the giveaway. So see you next Monday for a new Monday Live.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.